Baby, because these people, they are crazy. Because they always talk about how Christian they is. Yeah, I don't know how many of them on that side are getting divorced because they getting caught up sleeping with their co-workers, staffers.
It should not be possible for someone like Jasmine Crockett to get into office. There's a major, major problem that it's even possible for someone like this to hold office. Let's start off the week, an abbreviated week, by checking in with our dear friend Jasmine Crockett. What is she up to these days? What is she thinking about right now? I know that's what you're wondering. That's what I was wondering. Well, the answer is not much. The inside of Jasmine's head is a dark and hollow cavern. It's an empty tunnel going nowhere. And that is very obvious when you hear her speak. And yet it's this really strange phenomenon where the longer that Jasmine Crockett spends in public office, the dumber she sounds. You know, based on the way she speaks and the things she says, it appears that she's losing brain cells at a really alarming rate. I mean, she'll be Joe Biden in a matter of a couple of months at this point. I don't know how this is happening. I don't know if she's going home and just like banging her head against a brick wall 14 times before she goes to bed every night. I don't know if that's part of her nightly routine. I'm not sure. But in any case, this is what she sounds like now. Listen to this.
Baby, because these people, they are crazy. Because they always talk about how Christian they is. Yeah, I don't know how many of them on that side are getting divorced because they getting caught up sleeping with their co-workers, staffers, interns, all the things. Yeah, you ain't got to believe me. Just go Google. You'll find some of it. I'm telling you. And the wives is being messy and petty. They putting it in the divorce. I'm like, ooh, that's got to be true because your lawyer would know that they going to lose it if they...
Baby, because these people, they are crazy. These people, you know, with the D there, because they always talking about how Christian they is. This is a sitting member of the United States House of Representatives. How Christian they is. They always talking about how Christian they is. This is a member of the United States. This is a congresswoman, in case you forgot. This is a person who goes to work in the sacred halls of Congress. At least the halls they told us were sacred on January 6th. Remember, we heard all about how sacred everything is? And I'll say this, Jasmine Crockett simply existing as a congresswoman is a greater attack on Congress and on the dignity of our system of government than January 6th ever was. Okay, Jasmine Crockett's whole political career is like a million January 6s every day. Every day she goes to work, it's a January 6th times a million. Nobody who speaks like this should be allowed to hold a seat in Congress. It just should not be allowed. If you can't speak basic English, not even because you're fluent in another language, I mean, that also shouldn't be allowed. If you can't speak English because you're fluent in another language, you know, because it's not, if you can't speak English because it's not your first language, you should not be allowed in Congress. Even worse, though, is if you don't speak another language, English is your only language, and you still can't speak it. You're not fluent in the one language that you allegedly speak. So you're not bilingual, you're no lingual. You're zero lingual. You have no lingual at all. You can't speak. You're not fit for Congress at that point. And that shouldn't be controversial to say. Now, you'll hear it claimed that she can speak English, that this ghetto act is just a put on. She's pretending. And that may be true, but whatever the reason behind it, if you speak like this, you should not be allowed to serve in public office at any level. And I know that when I say this, I'll be accused of being racist. I was making fun of that Jasmine Crockett clip on X yesterday, and I had a bunch of people saying, "Oh, now you're just being openly racist, making fun of." Well, this has nothing to do with race. To be very clear, I think that any person who can't speak proper English, regardless of race, should not be allowed to hold public office in this country. If we want to be a serious country run by adults, then any human who is a citizen of this country cannot speak proper English should not be allowed. I don't care, black or white, doesn't matter to me. Speaking our own language fluently and coherently should be a prerequisite for holding public office, white or black. This is not about having an accent or even using slang. Okay, this is about not speaking English. They is how Christian they is. That's not English. I'm sorry. That's not how English is spoken. English is an actual language, and that's not that's not English. That is not actually English. And needless to say at this point, because you know my take on the right to vote, which is that I'm not a big fan of it. For most people, I'm not a big fan of the right to vote for most people. I think most people should not have the right to vote. So it doesn't even need to be repeated at this point, but I will, that anyone who would vote for a woman like this should not have the right to vote anymore. You are not fit to exercise that right. You're not fit to exercise the right of self-determination if you would vote for Jasmine Crockett. This country doesn't work. No country works at all. Nothing works so long as you insist on giving equal say to the sorts of people who would vote for Jasmine Crockett. The sort of person who would see that clip that we just played and go, yeah, that's who I want. I'm going to vote for that person. I want that person representing me in Congress. Yeah, she's the one. Of all the possible people, let's have her. Anyone who would say that shouldn't have the right to vote. And everything starts to make more sense when you realize this, when you realize and accept that it's just impossible to have a functioning country when you allow the dumbest, most gullible, most hopelessly deluded and stupefied morons to vote. It doesn't work. Like it just doesn't work. You can't do that. You cannot have a functioning country that way. So it's almost like all of our debates, political debates, are sort of pointless as long as we're allowing the dumbest, most clueless people to steer the ship. Nothing can work. And which is why you would never do this in any other context. You would never leave any other important decision to Jasmine Crockett or a Jasmine Crockett voter. I mean, if you bought a piece of property and you needed to build a house on it, you wouldn't take a poll of the general population to figure out the design and blueprints of your house. If you wanted to get the engine fixed in your car, again, you wouldn't just take a general poll, like no qualifications or anything. I want to know, I need to get my car fixed. I'll stop 1,000 random people on the street. Doesn't matter doesn't matter. No qualifications, just 1,000 random people. And whatever they say I should do to my car, I'll do that to the car. You would never do that. It's crazy. You would never do that. Nothing can work that way. You cannot have a functioning anything if it works that way. There is no important decision in your life, not a single one, that you would leave up to a vote of just like the general public with no qualifications and with weighing everyone's voice the same. And yet we think it's possible to maintain a country this way? It's not. It's just not. Which is why it was never actually supposed to work this way. It was never supposed to be that just like, yeah, everyone gets a say. The right to vote is this sacred right that we just give to anyone at all. Don't have to be citizens either, like just anyone. Yeah, if you're here, you get a say. Doesn't matter if you're a citizen, doesn't matter, increasingly it's like they won't even matter how old you are, they want to drop the voting age. Doesn't matter if you are literate, doesn't matter if you have a job, doesn't matter if you have any stake, any skin in the game whatsoever, doesn't matter if you're a functioning person, doesn't matter if you have any clue what's happening in the world, doesn't matter if you even know what system of government this is, doesn't matter if you can name the branches of government, doesn't matter if you can even name who the vice president is. None of that matters. Just everyone, yeah, everyone has a say. Throw your vote in the hat here and we'll figure out. Yeah, we'll whatever all these people say, that's what we'll do. Doesn't work. It obviously doesn't work. It cannot work. So much of what we're dealing with in this country is just the inevitable result of this insane system that is, by the way, again, very new. This is not ever how it's actually supposed to work. Where there are no qualifications to vote whatsoever. Okay, that's anyone who acts like that's like it's it's like self-evident that this is how voting is supposed to be. Well, of course there should be no qualifications. Everyone should just vote. Anyone who acts like that, it's like that's, well, these are the people that shouldn't be allowed to vote. They're just incredibly stupid. Okay. It should not be possible for someone like Jasmine Crockett to get into office. When you see Jasmine, you watch that clip and you see Jasmine Crockett, and he's like, okay, well, she was elected. Well, we got a major systemic problem. There's a major problem that it's even possible for someone like this to hold office. But I've been beating this drum forever. It's unfortunately, it's like, I don't know how you fix it, because I understand as a politician, it's very hard. Well, the politicians are not interested in, most of them are not interested in shrinking the voting base. They want a bunch of morons to vote, because obviously if you're a politician, it works better for you. There's a lot less accountability when morons are voting. But even if there was a politician that had the integrity to want to change the system, that's a hard pitch to the voters, is to come out and say, hey, I think like a huge number of you shouldn't have a say anymore. And so I think that's where we want to, I think that's where we want to head. That's a tough pitch. I understand that, but someone's got to make it, because this just isn't working. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.